Ugh. Oh, God. One day it's a little bit warm. My allergies are just killing me. Anyway, so this is my best movies of 2017. This time I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm not really going to do like a top 10 list or something. I don't even think I have actually 10. I think I have like 9. Because I really liked all these movies like pretty equally, you know? Obviously for little different reasons, but I liked them all. And so I'm just gonna, I guess, group the. You'll figure it out. Anyway, this year, this video is coming out a little bit later than before because I don't want the same stupid thing to happen that happened last year, which is, you know, make my list and, you know, recorded the thing, put it out, and I'm like, that's my favorite movies. Yep, my number one movies. That dumb Lonely Island movie. And then later in that week, I watch Moonlight, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. I just fucking put the Lonely Island movie as my favorite, and Moonlight is yeah. Most of the time, those like things that most movies that are nominated for like the Academy and all this stuff. Most of the time, they're not on my list. Of course, like Fury Road was number 1 for me that year. But you get what I mean anyway. So, first two are movies that I didn't expect to like. Let's call it that. The first two is movies I didn't expect to like, which was Good Time and A Ghost Story. Now, with Good Time, all I kept hearing from people was, you gotta see, someone's dying out there, you gotta see this new Robert Pattinson movie. And I'm like, oh, why do I want to see Robert Pattinson movie? And they're like, no, it's really good. He does really well in it, and it's like, they're like, it's kind of like a heist thing, and da-da-da, and I'm like, alright. And I watched it, and it's like, yeah, it's like, stop with the clicky pen. It's Robert Pattinson, you know, him and this guy is like his brother, and they're trying to get out of situations, and they just keep running into more and more, like, it just keeps, like, you know, you could just surrender the cops, but instead you're like, go, and then make matters worse, all that stuff. And just watching them trying to, like, get out of every situation, it's quite entertaining, you know. Robert Pattinson does a great job. I'm going like, I like this Robert Pattinson movie. And this guy, like, he deserves to redeem himself because poor kid had to deal with all the Twilight stuff, and he's not a bad actor, you know? Like, he's not a bad actor. He just got put into that and having to stare off into space for too long. But yeah, so this movie is really, like, I was like, wow, I didn't think I'd care. Because all I just heard was a movie called Good Time, and it said Robert Pattinson. So, of course, my head was like, that guy's in one of, like, those love stories again? No. Like, he needs to stick to stuff like this, where he's just, like, weird and wacky. Like, just do that. Yeah, and then A Ghost Story, you know, again, I thought it was just one of those, like, at first it seemed like a not a paranormal activity kind of movie, but like a movie where it's like there's a couple, like an Insidious kind of thing. Like there's a couple and then things happen and what happens next. And it also was like starting like the two kind of like two people of siblings that I don't like. It has like Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck, and I'm not a big fan of theirs. You know, I like their siblings more. So I was like, oh my god, I don't know. And it's like, what if... Yeah. But this one's actually, it's very interesting. First of all, it's filmed in like a 4:3 aspect ratio, you know, rather than like, yeah, and there's that. And then also it's kind of like, it gets kind of artsy. It like lingers on shots a little bit long, like, you know, not to a point where you like get on with it, but kind of like lingers a bit. And it's interesting. It's a ghost story. It really is about like how like this couple, like, they're together, and then there's like a ghost in their house, and then you kind of see like through the years of the couple and the ghost at the same time, like the ghost's lifespan, you know, and it's kind of weird, but you accept it, and it was pretty interesting. Like, I pretty enjoyed it. I pretty much enjoyed it. I am an adult who can speak words. So these next two movies, I knew I would enjoy watching the movie. I just didn't expect I'd really love these movies, you know, and it's both quite opposite type of movies and about completely different things. And I'm talking about Get Out and the Disaster Artist, you know. With Get Out, like, when I saw the trailer, at first I swear I thought it was like one of those, like, because Key and Peele is over and all that stuff, and they had come out with Keanu, and I thought, okay, this is like another one of like those fake, I thought it was a fake trailer. But then I realized there was like a thing like in theaters February, and I was like, wait, this is real? Jordan Peele is actually coming out with like this thing? And at first I was like, alright, it's obvious about race, it's, in the horror genre, so I was like, I don't know what this is. You go to the theater, you watch it, and it hits so close to home, and for especially for right now with this political climate, like it's just so prevalent right now. Like this movie needed to be made, it needed to be made in this kind of like fashion, it needed to, like, everyone needed to see it, and you needed to see it like especially in theaters and be with that audience, and it was just like I've never seen Paul pace around so much after a movie like a grumbling father, because this movie was just like, this is it, and I am just so like proud of Jordan Peele for like doing this movie, getting it out there, doing the ending that they did, because when I bought it on video and then watched the alternate ending, which was actually the original ending, again, before the political climate got a little bit different, and I was like, oh my god, it was just like anxiety, anger, it was just like not, it was like, this, I'm so glad they gave us the ending they did, because I would just, so Get Out was like a thing where like, from the trailer, I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna at least like enjoy, but I just didn't think this shit would hit me. But yeah. But then with The Disaster Artist, because I, kind of course, know about the book and all that stuff, and like I said in my review, at first I was a little bit worrisome because, I thought they were just kind of like parody it more than really like tell the story. But of course, this movie came out, and with all of us who like, one, love The Room, cherish Tommy Wiseau, and in general, if you love bad movies, like movies that are so bad they're good, this like makes you fall in love with that kind of stuff again. Again, I knew I'd like enjoy the movie, I just didn't expect to enjoy it so much, and I also didn't expect to be dying laughing in the theaters like every 2 seconds, and because it's like, and then again, just like with Get Out, like the audience experience was the best because you're seeing with it, whereas in Get Out, everyone at the same time is like, oh no, fuck this, no, no, like that kind of like, hell no kind of reaction. Whereas in The Disaster Artist, everyone was just like, oh my god, oh, like everyone was just like loving it, pointing out the references, and everyone's like, oh, you knew where the references were, and you're dying even more. Like it was great, and funny enough, just like Get Out, it's a movie I didn't think I needed, but I needed, and it was there for me. These next two movies were based on true events, and they were done by two of my favorite directors, which was Detroit and Dunkirk. So with Detroit, it's based on the Detroit riots and then what happened at that hotel during that time. And I love that they admit that it's like they don't know exactly what happened, but these are just like what's been told via interviews and all this other stuff, so we don't know exactly what happened. But even then, just like, seeing these people go through, like, they're trying to just like chill out and not be around the riots and all that stuff, but then being in the middle of it, and then having all these cops, and it was just like, the movie makes you just kind of worry about everyone. You're like, oh god, someone's gonna die, like the entire time you're like freaking out. You're with the characters. Will Poulter plays this completely convincing shit cop, who just like is just gonna just say the N-word and just be the shit racist cop, and like you really believe like this guy's a piece of shit, and like John Boyega's in it, Anthony Mackie's in it, like they all do so well, and like they even, and in the movie, like besides talking about the riots and obviously racial tension and all that stuff, they even talk about like Motown, they kind of like give like a little taste of like everything that was happening in Detroit at the time, and it was just like, like because you kind of see the place like more fully and more as a whole, you kind of like empathize with the people, and you kind of like, you go into that world even more. So when things were starting to happen in that hotel, you were more and more worried. You were more and more like, oh god, I know what's going to come out of this. I know what's going to happen, And again, in the end, you don't really, like, they don't really know what happens, but this is what was, like, witness encounters, like interviews have said, so we don't know exactly. And then with Dunkirk, you know, of course, we're talking about during the war. You know, like everyone is trying to get to Dunkirk, all that stuff, all those people in like their little boats and stuff, like saving all these soldiers. And like I said in my review, that the movie was pretty much like the third act of a movie. It was just like full blown action panic the entire time. And the fact that they play a little bit with time, being like, this is an hour's trip. Was it like an hour, a day, and then a week? Yeah, like that long of a time to get to that, and then you're kind of jumping in between and seeing how all these people are just literally just trying to escape the war, like, and just trying to get out of harm's way, and just seeing it, and you know, like, just it's Christopher Nolan, so you're watching it in IMAX, and so you're, you know, you're in the movie, the immersion, you're living, like, IMAX is not for viewing the movie, you experience it, you know, that kind of shit, like, you're in that movie, you know, the entire time, like, the boats are collapsing, and people are drowning, and people are just like, you know, Cillian Murphy is there, you know, Tom Hardy is flying a plane, you know, you're just like, oh shit, what's gonna happen, like, you want them all to fucking survive, you know, and some of them do, and then some of them don't, and you're like, ah, like, for, you know, for like, was it like an hour? The movie wasn't that long, you know, you would think, like, at first I was like, oh, is this, did I timestamp this movie right? Because I think it's like under 2 hours or something, which is kind of weird for a Nolan movie. But yeah, like these two movies based on true stuff, you're just watching it, you're in full panic mode, makes you panic a bit more because you know this actually happened, you know? Yeah. So yeah, this year was the year of so many of my favorite directors coming out with movies. And so then these last three movies are, you know, by three other, you know, directors I really love. One who is more like a recent director that I started to really look closely on. Yeah, and so the three movies are Baby Driver, The Shape of Water, and Blade Runner 2049. And so with Baby Driver, of course, like, I love Edgar Wright. I love his movies. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go see this movie. It's an Edgar Wright movie. Like, go fucking see it, you know? And the fact that, you know, like, with Edgar Wright, he has such, like, an eye for detail and everything. So the music was, like, its own character in the movie, you know, like, every little detail with, every, you know, like, there was everything he does, there's a reason for it. And what I love about his movies, that, like, if you rewatch like it on video, there's of course the commentary section, but there's also like another thing he always has where he like points out all the references he's making. You know, it could be like a musical cue, it could be like a quick little like poster in the back kind of thing, you know. And like, I love his eye for detail. Like, he actually gives a fuck about everything he does in a shot, every shot, and like why things are planned the way they are. Like, and I love with this movie, like, it's like, you know, it's a simple movie, you know, you get into the wrong crowd kind of thing, you're trying to just, like, get your way out, like, you're in the mob trying to get out kind of stuff. Not really, but you know what I mean, like, that kind of stuff, and, you know, you're just, like, you're just trying to do the best you can, and you're just stuck in, like, a shitty situation, and it's just, you know, and of course, music plays a role in it, and it just, I love it, like, music choices, because, like, that soundtrack is amazing. And then also just, like, the cast of characters he has, because, like, Ansel, like, is great. You know, he's got John Hamm in it, for fuck's sakes. Like, John Bernthal is in it for, like, a quick bit, but he's in it, you know. That's Kevin Spacey. But yeah, like, all these, like, amazing, amazing actors, you know, are in it. And it's just like, oh, Jamie Foxx is in it. Oh my god, I almost forgot. Like, he played the asshole. Yeah, so, like, all these great movies, and it's, like, a fun movie, it's, like, a fun heist movie, but it gets serious, but it doesn't, like, lose track of it, you know, it's not just, like a Fast and the Furious thing, where it's just, like, thing going, exploding, action, action, action. Like, this movie has its points where there's action, there's points where it gets serious, there's points where it's funny, you know, but nothing feels jarring, and they all fit in, because, right, and he's really good at balancing all that stuff. Yeah, so then with The Shape of Water, of course, Guillermo del Toro, like, my favorite, you know, like, I went to this bonus Q&A when the movie came out, because when they had the original Q&A, I didn't know about it, and then it was sold out, so I was like, you know what, cut my losses, I'll go see it later in the month. And then he just last minute posts on his Twitter like, I'm gonna do a bonus Q&A, and I was like, I have to go, you know. I didn't ask a question or anything, but just the fact that I was in the same goddamn room as Guillermo del Toro, you know, that was enough for me. It was like a religious experience being there, just listening to the man talking about colors. But anyways, but this movie, just like so many of his other ones where it deals like monsters and all that stuff, like, he is that man. You know, Universal's stupid for not hiring him to do all these, doing the Universal horror, the dark universe stuff, because he is perfect for this stuff. It would make sense, it would be beautiful, there'd be so much love and meaning to everything. It's not just stupid shit flying at you, you know? And with The Shape of Water, you know, like, I know a lot of people joke around like, it's the movie where you want to fuck a fish, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's like, the fact that he made the character, like the main character, you know, like mute, there was like a reason for it, you know, and the main character is also a person of color, and her friend is a person of color, and like her next door neighbor is a homosexual, you know, and then the time period and all that stuff. So it's not just like, okay, we add a creature into here, but again, just like oddly enough with like Detroit, there's a lot of real world elements in here within the 60s of like, it's a racism thing and like a homophobia thing. It's like so many things to it. And to have something kind of Captain Obvious, like a different creature, like you can really see, you know, like how people act towards something that's different. And there's just so much to it. And like, he even mentioned during his Q&A, he's like, oh yeah, because water obviously is a theme in the movie. And that Japanese like woodblock print, you know, with the big waves. He's like, oh yeah, if you take a closer look, like in like her apartment, you'll see like in the wallpaper, it like we mimicked it. And I'm like, oh my god, again, attention detail, you know. But yeah, and the final one is Blade Runner 2049. That one I went in like kind of worried because it, like, you know, trailer wise, all that stuff, it looked beautiful, and like, all right, maybe if I don't really like it, it's just at least pretty. Kind of like when I went to go see Tron Legacy, I'm like, it's pretty, the soundtrack's great, but the story's kind of, you know. But this was like, the story was good. It was able to like continue on this story from 30 years ago, show that this is the same place but 30 years later. Of course, you know, reference things from the previous movie, but without having to kind of buries you with it. And just like the way how the characters were written, like Ryan Gosling's character, I found myself going, I like this Ryan Gosling movie, you know, I can't get a copy of the movie, like it's not here because every Best Buy I've gone to so far has been sold out, so god damn it. Anyway, so with that one, again, visually, it's amazing, you know, like the characters are very well written. There's like, it was a slow moving movie, but like, again, not like get on with it kind of slow. It moved at its pace. It was really well. It like took its time to kind of like tell you about these people and about the world and how the world is different from when you last saw it and where we go from there. And then pretty much like 45 minutes in, or however long, when you finally see Harrison Ford and you meet Deckard again, you go from there. And then you kind of jump back on, and it's not like he comes in like cameo time, you know. It's like there's a reason to go there, and it's not just like, well, of course we have to go there to fun, blah, blah. It's like there's a reason to go see him and have him be involved again. Not just because this is a sequel, not just because this is a cameo. Like there are reasons for everything you see, you know. And then when I found out that the Jared Leto character was originally supposed to be played by Bowie. Oh my god, can you imagine just Bowie at that role? But anyway, so yeah, that was my, anywho, that was my best films of 2017. It's not really a top 10 list, because it's really like 9 films divided into little weird kind of like categories and all that stuff. But yeah, so there it is, and all that stuff. And I never know how to end a video. Like, there, stop, time to turn off the camera, because I'm talking too much, and my camera's about to overheat.